of design of technology-driven learning lessons. So our first speaker for this interview is no other than student intern Camille Joy Nafar.
Yes. So good afternoon, Mas. Yes. So we already know that we'll be tackling this vast topic of ours, no, which is theories and principle in the use and design of technology-driven learning lessons. So in this lesson, we all know that technology really plays a vital or important role in our daily living. So we can live na without cell phone. So ang first mata cellphone na yung tanawin, di ba? So like kita sa student intern, di ta pwedeng may laptop kay listo jud kay may laptop kung mag-internet padungat ang mga maestra. So sa pag-flip sa nato or pag-transition nato aning classroom setting, we have also face different barriers like sa cost, sa access, sa time, sa pag-transition ani. So for you, Miss, nagkuan jud ta ani kala nag-indulge man jud ta ani nga flip classroom. So for you, if you're considering what qualities make a good teacher among the following objectives, the why sa tanan-tanan jud para nimo, which qualities are most likely to contribute to a teacher's excellence in the classroom?
There came two thoughts sa ako while you were asking me that question. First is we know that teachers were born and raised to be flexible, right?
Yeah, true.
Like we are to be flexible in what traditions or cultures or activities the technology will change us.
True.
And the second one, this is I'm sure about is the enthusiasm that we will be bringing to the future generations or to us as well, where we can be more effective and efficient as teachers. Do you see the difference? If the teacher is enthusiastic, then the students are very engaged. They are very excited to be part of the lesson.
Kaso di mo sa classroom mo ana na teacher, di ba? Kung stricta mo kay ang teacher, maghilom na dyan na sila niya. Pero mo nila mas stricta ang teacher kaayo ba kay mahadlok sila, kung sila mahadlok kay mawagtangan sila confidence, di ba? So kita jud mga future teachers na gi-train sa jud ta to be enthusiastic kind of teacher.
Yes.
And also maybe atong passion jud sa teacher as a teaching as atong passion sa teaching naa na siya atong fire sa teaching naa na siya permi. So as what you've said sa flexibility, so may transition man jud ta into this flip classroom where Tpack Framework is very ga-circle sa atong mga future educators. Daghang ipangutan na unsa man jud ni Tpack Framework, unsa na siya ka-importante, unsay sujud ani niya. So my question for you, Miss, is that what is Tpack Framework all about, when it was introduced, and who introduced this framework?
Yes, I think your technical crew is right about this presentation, where Tpack stands for Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge. It is a model of learning where teachers considers these three things. The first thing is what content they will be teaching to their students. The second thing is how they will deliver that content to their students. And the third thing is the most important thing too is what tools they have to use for them to effectively and efficiently deliver this content to their students. As Tpack Framework was introduced year 2006, it was 17 years ago. Imagine.
Yes, imagine 17 years ago.
For sure, you have experienced Tpack Framework when you were senior high, when I was junior high too. It was introduced by Ponya Mishra and Matthew Kohler, and they first introduced this framework at Michigan State University.
Michigan State University. Wow, daghan jud kay kung nakatunan anak pa lang mapagay go under sa mga components, right?
Yes.
Daghan jud kay kung nakatunan. So
as what you've said na ay transition, di ba? Nag-make sila 2006. So, karon nga transition ta sa atong flip classroom. Karon pa dyan nato na feel ang mga kuan ba, ang mga changes. So, naaman tayo gitawag nga atong what tools need to be used, right?
Yes.
So, as a teacher, sa muuyon jud kay ko ato mga kay kita teachers need jud ta makaibaw kung unsay mga tools nga angay gamiton para interactive sa jud atong discussion while in online setting, right?
And diba, if you can differentiate when you were still young, if the discussion is so boring, then we'll feel sleepy and but there's a big difference when naanay technology sa discussion. Like, the students will be interested and then, I will study this when I went home, I'll search about this. That's nice about Tpack Framework.
True. Nice education. So, next question is, what do you feel about the impact of Tpack Framework to students' learning?
Actually, you can make, hopefully you can feel that I feel good about it. It makes me become, aside from it makes me become an effective and efficient teacher, it helps my student, which is my mission and vision too, where they can increase their critical thinking skills, they will receive the quality of education they deserve, and then lastly, they would be more engaging and they'll be able to increase their love about learning. I had this experience when I was first year, outreach programs.
Yes.
I've seen a kid, I think he was 8 or 9 years old, and then I asked her, do you go to school? And then she said, no. Why don't you go to school? And then she answered, my mom, aside from my mom or my parents won't allow me, she answered, she doesn't find joy at school. At that moment, I realized, or I put in mind that when I become a teacher, I must instill to the minds of that learner or that student, there is fun in learning. And learning is something we can't live without. And that is something po nga will make you say, kung mamatay naman ka or mahuman na diya makayon ka, I have fought a good fight. I was able to learn from what I have studied and I was able to share what I have learned.
True. It mo yun sa jud ko ana yung resulti nga naajoy more fun jud ang learning ka, especially na nakikuan jud ang technology sa educational system na to. Like, daghan jud kay tag mahimo kung kay bawlan jud sa nga appropriate tools nga kung sa jud atong need gamiton for the specific topic.
Yes.
So nice jud kay ang imong gi-share sad ma'am. So last question is, if given a chance to consider Tpack Framework in your future teaching experience, would you consider this framework? Why or why not?
If given a chance, I would boldly say yes. I will consider Tpack Framework because I myself have seen and experienced it firsthand and I am enjoying it. And I won't hinder the future generations to enjoy and be excited about learning. One effective example I have experienced, I had this very favorite teacher. I'm not fond of history, boring ka, ayun siya.
Uy, kapag kayo balik-balik sa past.
Yes, you're right. Kapag kayo balik-balik sa past. But this teacher used technology where she brought our class to a virtual tour.
Wow.
That virtual tour is Santo Niño, the church there.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with that guy. I'm not Catholic. And that's also the reason I don't have interest about knowing history. But then, because of what she did, my interest about history was awakened. And that is because of technology. And that is because of Tpack Framework.
Wow.
Where she used computers, videos, visual presentations that has helped me more fully love Cebu and that has helped me appreciate the faith of the Cebuanos. Like, they are willing to sacrifice anything just to go to the church and to offer sacrifices just for their dreams and desires to be fulfilled. And it's amazing.
Wow, thank you so much for that very, very, oh my gosh, what ko mga sabihin mo? Like, sa virtual tour, so ganun na. Oh my gosh, thank you kaayo ato mom. So
sa Tpack Framework daghan jud kay kog nakatunan nga mao ni siya ang karang gamiton para sa karon nga learning sa mga students as well as napasyalaan nga components. So dili ra dito need magpataka-pataka o butang aniya kay dili siya appropriate para ana. So buhay jud kay ang Tpack karon nakatunan jud ko sa Tpack. Mga thank you kaayo mga.
Thank you. And you have mentioned also the components. If you have felt the excitement right now, you'll be more excited if you know the components. That's 6 components in the screen. If you'll be able to understand it well, then you're really saying, when I'll become a teacher, I'll consider Tpack Framework.
Wow, thank you so much. So, sa components, let's go sa kauban ng mga
Yes.
guest speakers.
I'm excited about that.
Yes. So, thank you so much for this very, very informative talk na itong duha, ma'am.
Thank you
guys.
for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kayo. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you again and again and again.
Yes, and I'll be watching to your next episode.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yes,
thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're done to our first guest speaker. So now let's proceed to our second speaker. So let us welcome Mr. Romel Buka. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. Please sit down. Please sit down. Okay, so later with Miss Camille, we talk about Tpack Framework graduate itself, the introduction about Tpack Framework. So, yes, ang giingon dito nga naay lain-lain nga components ang Tpack Framework. So, my first question for you, sir, is that can you enlighten me or us about what is content knowledge?
So, content knowledge is the first component we have in the Tpack framework. So, content knowledge refers to what are you teaching and what are your understanding or knowledge about that subject matter. So, basically, this refers to how you deeply understand the subject. For example, I am a mathematics teacher, so I teach math. So by that, I am master and I am expert in dealing with numbers, solutions, and problem solvings. And by that, by deeply understanding that subject, I will impart my knowledge to my students on how to multiply, how to divide fractions, and by that, but there is also a note or a, what do you call this one, a disadvantage in content knowledge. So you don't have to impart all your knowledge to the student, but it also depends on the grade level of the students.
Oh, okay. So as you teach, it's different, or no, you teach a subject matter on different grade level. So
Yeah.
what you mean is that you can teach this specific subject matter to different grade level. For example, when you teach algebra, you can teach algebra to grade 1,
Yeah,
grade
exactly,
2.
exactly.
Oh, okay. So that's what content knowledge is about. That's the
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
That's the first component, right, of the
Of
Tpack
Tpack
framework.
framework.
Oh, okay. So we're done naman talking about content knowledge, no, which is the first component of Tpack,
Yeah, exactly.
Tpack framework. So let's proceed now to the second question, Sir Romel.
Yeah.
So how will you know that your students really learn something from what you are teaching?
Alright, I see. That is a very good question, no? Because in Tpack framework Mongol, we have 6 components of it. So we have the content knowledge that we already talked about.
Yes.
Second, we have the pedagogical knowledge. Third, we have the technological knowledge. Fourth, we have the technological content knowledge. Fifth, we have the pedagogical content knowledge. And sixth, or the last component, is we have the technological pedagogical knowledge. So to answer that question is that, so to answer that question, dira na mo sud ang pedagogical knowledge. So pedagogical knowledge refers to kanang your strategy as a teacher or as a future educator. That is basically your lesson plan on how to interact with your students effectively and efficiently, and to share your knowledge with them, but kanang dili ra ka mo use og usa ka strategy kay mutuo mo sa multiple knowledge good ka kato ni
Yes.
ni kisa ganito ang nagkatong issue sa
Howard Gardner.
oh yes kana si Howard Gardner sa atong kanang dili ra kanang sa usa ka strategy makaton ang bata. So you as a teacher mandol man gid ka kanang mga daghan kay bata sa kanang usa ka classroom, so you have to think a strategy nga kanang ma-apply sa kanang sa standard students. For example, mga activity such as group activities, oral recitations, reflections, and written works to kanang to know and to assess them na naadjud sila hibaw-an sa imong discussions and imo ma-check ilang progress o asa na ka dapat mo discuss sa next imong discussion. So that is the pedagogical knowledge.
You welcome or you introduce multiple intelligences,
Yes,
right,
yes.
sir, by Howard Gardner.
Gardner.
So, muat-an masad ko that we have this what we call BART learning style
Yes,
na
yes, yes.
lain sad siya na learning style in a way nga ma-assess na to ang students kung asa jud ilang asa sila prefer nga mas makatun og dali, right?
Exactly.
Mao magud na formula nga mao na siya murag lapses sa ubang teacher nga masayop sila kay naman yung mga students na mas mo-learn sila in that way,
Yes,
in that
yes,
way,
yes,
di ba? So kung magpasuwak na ka per me, na ay visual or na ay audio, so how about ang mga audio learners, right? So mao din na all
So that
about
is basically the meaning of pedagogical knowledge.
right, mao din na siya. Okay. We're done naman sa pedagogical, right? Pedagogical. Suda sa niya.
Pedagogical.
Pedagogical knowledge. So, we're heading right now sa technological knowledge. So, my question for you, sir, is that how important it is for a teacher like us to know the appropriate device or the availability of the device they'll use in teaching today's classroom setting.
So yeah, in familiarity of technology, so we teacher also kanang need to use our technological knowledge to make our job easy, to make some sheets, documents, PowerPoint presentations, and videos to interact to the students nga dili ra imuhang discussion is boring and kanang dili interactive. So we use kanang devices such as laptop kanang para madali ra ang atong work o pag-impart sa atong mga kanang o pag-communicate sa atong mga students towards kanang technology. So technological knowledge kay kinahanglan sa nato nga ato na siya ma-familiarize o kanang tagaan nato siyang importance kay para sa kanang dili kanang traditional ang ato ang kanang interact sa mga students labi na sa kanang mga subjects nga kanang dili kaayo hatagag interest sa mga bata kay lagi boring such as katong history para gitaw sa first speaker kaniya history, mathematics kay mo deal og numbers nga kanang ang mga bata ana is maglabad og ulo niya. For example, if wala kay as a teacher dili ka mo gamit og technological knowledge niya mo impart gyud ka sa traditional kanang way of teaching is maglisod biya ka og divide o kanang kon na manually o kanang auto ka. So
dili bitaw kanang mathematician
yes,
also,
right? Exactly. So we also use kanang calculators no kanang para mas mapadali atong kinabuhi. So yes, it is important for us to know the technological knowledge and i-apply ni nato as a teacher and a future educators also.
Right, okay. Imagine ang last episode man good of interview de Habonero is about siya sa history or the timeline sa technology. So, sa ancient times, na ito ang mga tools or ang mga magamit, mga writing tools sa ato nga time. So, imagine kung magmamit na talaga grades, barking slates, usaw na ito, wala na inani, diba? Diba, din kayo imagine nga, wala yung mga ingano, usaw na ito paghimo mas engaging ang atong klase. So, by that time siguro, mas boring siguro ang mga klase, diba?
I agree.
Mas maboringan magkita kung abutan tagduka sa atong klase, right?
Lagi nag-stress.
Oo, diba? Makatawag siya tagmas oras. So, nindot kayo siya nga, naadjud ang technology karon but mas nindot siya nga nagtagaan tag knowledge about lain-lain siya day ang mga appropriate na siya mga proper jud nga mga
Na-siya flow, na-siya plan yun na.
yes, naadjud day siya and that's what
i-familiarize.
yeah, and that's what Tpack framework is giving us right now,
Yes.
right? So thank you for that very, very,
No
very
problem.
informative also talk, Mr. Labuka. So
No problem.
sa atong mga next na guest speaker, so siya sad ang welcome sa tulo pa kalain nga components as
Yes.
you mentioned a while ago. So thank you so much. And we are now heading to our third guest speaker, so let us welcome Miss Yeza Erogero. Good afternoon. So please sit down. So, a while ago, Mr. Labuka ang nag-una nimo, right?
Yes.
So, ang iyang gitackle is all about content, technological, and pedagogical knowledge. So, for you, Miss, the first question will go like this. How can you use pedagogical content in the classroom setting?
First and foremost, pedagogical content knowledge, basically, that type of knowledge is the very unique for the teachers because it covers our understanding of the basic tenets of teaching and learning, such as assessment, curriculum, and the development of students' communication. So, for example of that is that we, Homemakers Club or TLE majors, is that our content is our skills. So the strategy of that is that we are going to for example cook in like face to face and not on online or virtual because we are focused on how to develop our skills manually and not on online world or virtually.
Okay. So basically, pedagogical content knowledge is a combination of pedagogical knowledge and content knowledge,
yes,
where you have that specific content knowledge and that specific what do you call this, strategy
Yes,
imong
yes.
isud to that subject matter. So like what you give ay example na magluto-luto mo, so dili man pwede magluto-luto mo real life na luto-luto
Yes, like sa application.
yes, sa application. So mo usab na inyong gipili nga strategy, right?
Yes.
Now, magluto mo dito jud sa asa mo magluto, miss?
Sa among laboratory sa
Okay.
finance.
Sa culinary lab?
Yes, miss.
Okay, sa culinary lab. So, we're done naman talking about sa pedagogical content knowledge. So, right now, we're heading sa technological pedagogical knowledge wherein combination gyapon siya sa duha ka knowledge. So, for you, unsa mo pag differentiate or pag-introduce kaninga knowledge?
So, technological pedagogical knowledge is this sums up our comprehension of how specific technologies might alter both the teaching and learning processes by posing new pedagogical challenges and affordances. Sa kuha ana miss is that technological pedagogical knowledge is somewhat like what you've said, the combination of technological pedagogical. So, for example, maghatag ko example nimo so that you will further understand more about
Yes.
that knowledge. So, here's the situation. As what I've said that I am a TLE major, so for me to be able to learn something about something new about a recipe. So, here's the technological nga mo enter sa akong pedagogical, which is my strategy. So, ma-watch ko og YouTube like on how to what is something new in this recipe for me to learn in that recipe. So gamit gyapon ang technology while in my course kay without technology with that technology na ako'y na-learn nga murag makakapan ako ang strategy using that.
Okay, so savage kay iro no sa pasensya ay jud kay ang iro dati. Murag wa jud na ready ang atong area para sa iro ba, but basically ang pedagogical o technological
is that when you have that specific strategy as what you've mentioned and you dwell sa technology, so basically maura na siya. So if ganahan ka mag-watch, so if kag nag-watch, ganahan ka mo new recipe, so ino-indulge ang technology, anak.
We are heading right now sa last component sa Tpack Framework, which is the technological content knowledge. So for you, Miss, we're tackling man sa na may duha ni mo na ingon, di ba, ang combination sa lain-lain nga knowledge. So kani man ang last. So what's the difference between this knowledge sa lain pa sa nga knowledge?
So technological content knowledge is somewhat demonstrates your comprehension of how content and technology may interact and compete with one another. So kanang you asked me about how kanang unsa ang kalahian sa technological content knowledge and sa mga lain nga kanang components of Tpack framework. So ang kalahian ani niya is that one strategy or one skills is combined with the technology. So for example is kanang you know how to cook bansay ka mo luto, and then for you to be able to apply some technologies that while you are cooking kanang imong magamit ka og technology like oven, stove, kanang may ana. So kanang na dako kayo siya og kalahian because kanang mura bitaw ka og magamit og kanang application or equipment or any available equipment nga nasa inyo apply gyud siya nimo in your content.
Oh yes, so basically naala ko i-clarify because you mentioned ng strategy and skills. Well, strategy is naaman siya nabilang sa pedagogical. So basically ang technological content knowledge Rajid is when you know what to do and you karang isagol nimo ang technology ana nga content. So maura na siya ang technological content knowledge basically. So we're done na jud mi sa ato 6 components sa typical ng Tpack framework. So there are different knowledge that we need to apply to ourselves to give that is enthusiastic and passion for teaching. So thank you so much for
It's a great privilege for having your as an interviewee.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Finally, we're heading to our last guest speaker. Let me welcome Miss Nina Camille Serra. So basically, ang mga gauna ni mga guest speakers talk about Tpack Framework and its components. So since ikaw man ang last guest speaker, so mahugid kag ikay mo sum up sa tanan. Ikaw si mo sum up sa tanan, Miss, di ba? So my first question for you is that why is it important to apply Tpack Framework in today's classroom setting?
So kay kuan man good way back before kay kuan di ba naman tay lain-lain nga kanang mga methods of teaching, right? So karon is if karon kay kuan mas kuan siya mas kanang technological kaayo na siya bag-o na mga technique na kay mga student karon. So that's why Tpack framework is important. And
yes, kay kung dili sad ta mo karang transition sa into this generation ba kay mura sa tag ma-behind o mura sa tag karang maglisod sad sa paki-compete sa karon nga educational system, right? Kay kung di ta mo indulge wala managapon ta atong mulay technology nagapon tay mga so you have tay improvement mao na siya ang sakto nga word niya wala sa tay kana ganing tawag nga change. Kumbaga, what type change?
Upgrade.
Yes, what type change sa ato. Yes. Since present naman ka na inana nga setting, so why not sud sa ka na nga setting, di ba? If naamatay availability. Okay. So second is, can you sa tanan nilang gisite nga examples ganina or experiences, can you give your own experience while using the Tpack framework?
First yun no, is katugig intern sa una, daghan kayo sila bit-bit ng Manila paper,
True.
kaya ng cartolina, para lang makatudlo sila.
Yeah.
So karon is, nanay ko, mag-down na laptop kayo, nag-phone ko na, naka-presentation sa Canva, mag-research na lang ako, kaya sa una siya pag-himo mga kuan, mga subject, na lang gani. So, in my experience, ug sa una gani, maglisod yung ko, kung saan pagtudlo og history, labi na og ka ng, mahisga na siya, numbers,
True.
ng
Kaya mga
years mo.
busy-busy.
Ano sa mga himo ba? Sa una kayo, mag-search pa, ay magkuhan ka, mangita pa ka sa book, kanus agyo, danan, yung maglisod ba kayo explain.
Sa library, magbaan na yung
Baan
ba?
pa kaya? Maglisod yung kag-explain, labi nag sa libro niya. Ika-report din mo mana, katuganin ko, maganahan na ka. And then, karon nga nani ang frameworks, mukha na ka, mag-research na ka sa Google, and then hatag na din siya. Like, for example, sa asad daw, gipatay si Jose Rizal, niya, mga ta, okay class, asa man gipatay si Jose Rizal, asa man siya namatay. So, magpakita na lang tag ka ng kuan, ka ng
Picture,
picture,
alright,
video,
picture.
ana niya. Kanang, niya, makakuha na din sila, ay, di na, di kuan si Jose Rizal, mga ana. So, mawag na na akong mga kuan experience na mas memorable jud kay na mga experience na kay teaching history is very difficult gid ba sa mga bata gid na.
So, karon na set up na to, like, kita interns pa man dyan ta, naka-benefit sa dyan nga framework. So, although we don't know nga nag-exist din siya nga framework, that's
Labi na tong pag-pandemic.
Yes, pag-pandemic jud.
Pandemic.
Yeah.
Kuan di kay siya kanang take in na jud itong pagka-pandemic gid kay wala nanta sa tong house gid nga pag-pandemic nga
true niya. Dili ta pwede nga mo-stop sa learning, di ba? Kaya learning is a choice. So, naiuban nga, ni hunong og eskwela, but nasa uban ni padayon. So, kita mga future educators, kita dyan mo mangitag paagi kung saan na to mo ang continuous lang igihapon ang flow sa learning sa students, right?
Yes.
So, ang last question ako, miss, is if you as a future educator, so what can you give or can you give advice to the future educators as well? Ang saan nila pag-use or kung saan nila pag-appropriately use ang technology karon?
So, paano lang yun ako, masulti nila is, never stop learning or never stop learning in terms of technology. Kabogid mo, every day, nagtubo ang nag-upgrade, nag-upgrade ang technology. So, never stop learning yun kay, mabiya gani, matita vibes na dito, ang sawag din na, dahil sawag din na, maganaan na dito, dito kay Bo. So, never stop learning in terms of technology.
So, thank you so much, kayo. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you.
Paulang ang interview.
You're welcome. Thank you sa pag-guest, no?
Yes, thank you. And that's it for today's episode. So, let us please welcome again the guest speakers from Cebu Normal University. Thank you so much for giving time, for spending time with us here in my interview mo. Yes, ang busy kayo in your schedule. So, ipaunakan di ako rin yung among show. So, tagan din kayo nag-gain ninyo. And again, mababay na sa viewers, guys. Bye!